evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Illiashnova, and today I want to talk about fear. Imagine you're sitting in the classroom, and the teacher asks a question you definitely know the answer to, but your hand stays down. You're afraid of sounding stupid, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of a judgment. Now ask yourself, how many opportunities have we missed not because we weren't ready, but because we were afraid? And all of these fears, if we allow them, can become an unsurmountable barrier to our lives and our potential. Fear has an ancient nature. Throughout the centuries, people who feared and overcame fear survived. You could say we're descendants of people who knew how to accept and conquer fear, turning it into a fuel for life and a resource for survival. Everyone is afraid of something. Insects, viruses, snakes, dolls, mice, fear is an integral part of our personality. Fear is a natural reaction for the unknown or dangerous. If the danger is real, for example, a fire starts, fear becomes a very useful survival mechanism. Adrenaline gives us energy and enhances speed and strength. And yes, many fears are useful and protect us, but there are also irrational, unexplainable fears. We call them phobias. For example, fear of space, agoraphobia, fear of sleep, hypnophobia, or even the fear that the peanut butter will stick to the roof of your mouth, arachibutterophobia. There are thousands of such phobias. Many thinkers have called our time the age of anxiety. From childhood, we were told that fear is so bad. But is it really so? No. Our deepest fears are like dragons hunting our greatest treasures, wrote poet Rainer Maria Rilke. Think about that. Sometimes your fear and your phobia is not a diagnosis, but a stimulus for your own personal growth. Now let's look at a few famous people and how they overcame fear. The famous Nikola Tesla overcame the fear of mysophobia, fear of germs. He struggled, but that inspired him, and today we use his current in medicine and sterilization devices. The great investors Warren Buffett, who is one of the most successful investors in the world, was afraid of public speaking. To overcome it, he took public speaking courses. That helped him. Emma Stone suffered from panic attacks. Since childhood, she struggled with anxiety, but found salvation in acting. So yes, being afraid is normal, but letting fear control you is your personal choice. Scientists identify three main causes of fear: uncertainty, trauma, and social influence. Let's look at them. Uncertainty. For our ancestors, it meant danger. A strange sound or a shadow could signal a predator. A stranger, a few. A non-familiar berry, a poison. Even today, our brain is programmed to perceive the unknown as a threat. We fear losing our finances, our health, and our career. We fear the depth, darkness, and unfamiliar places. We fear what we don't know and can't control. The second cause of our fears is trauma or negative experiences. Such fears form as a defensive reaction to prevent the recurrence of unpleasant events. For example, if a person was bitten by a dog, they might start fearing all the dogs. Experiencing violence might result in fearing all physical contact. The third cause of our fears is social influence. We fear being rejected. We fear judgment. We depend on social norms and imposed rules that demand we be slim, fashionable, successful, and loved. Social fears can be recognized and worked through. Working on self-confidence, reducing dependence on others' opinion, and developing critical thinking might help weaken the impact of social fears. Now let's look at a few more examples of famous people who overcame fear. Joanne Rowling overcame the fear of failure. She lived in poverty and faced so many rejections, but she overcame the fear of failure. As a result, Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Steve Jobs. Many people use his products, but do you know why they don't have buttons? Steve Jobs suffered from componophobia. He hated and was afraid of buttons. Now look at your phone. That's a concrete fear in your hand. The outstanding politician Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. He transformed his fear into the fight for justice and equality. I learned that the courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. His words became a global symbol of how fear can become your own strength. Now, all of these stories show that any fear can become your personal tool for achieving your goals. Fear is not in danger, it's within us. Say regardless tenfold, and that's wise. Fear is inside us. Our task is to understand and face our fear. Fear always springs from ignorance, said the poet Emerson, and that's true. education, and understanding can reduce your fear. Let me give you an example. For example, me standing in front of you today. Fear of public speaking or glossophobia is one of the most famous fears in the world. Why? Because of our ancestors. Living in isolation meant death. Being in the crowd, however, meant safety. Speaking in front of the crowd was a risk that could end very badly. Even today, we continue to feel that fear. Our mind knows it's just a speech or it's just a presentation, but the ancient fear whispers, this is life or death. Understanding the causes of fear helps us to overcome it. But most importantly, I'm sure you understood my point. Fear must be understood and faced. When you walk towards your fear, it loses its power. Overcoming fear is not easy, and here's a few proven and effective methods. To get rid of the fear, you must first acknowledge your fears. Find someone you trust and talk about the fear. Destroy your fear. Write down it on a paper and burn it up. Feel your fear. Yes, fear is a part of you, but it doesn't control you. It doesn't, okay? Ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen? For example, you're afraid no one loves you. Okay, and then what? You'll survive. And you'll find someone who do, and that's what matters. Laugh and smile more often. Stay present. We're consumed by the worries of what might happen tomorrow or after tomorrow. Focus on the present. Read books. There are hundreds of amazing books about fear and hundreds of stories being told. Meditation, breathing exercises, and physical activity. When fear creeps in, don't fight. Breathe, pause, watch the fear loses its power. And celebrate every your success. Remember your feeling of victory and use it to keep moving forward. Remember, the world is not scary or evil. The world is a mirror. It reflects what it sees. So start showing the energy of life, strength and joy. Understand, accept, and turn your fears into your strength, into a resource, into a protector. You've got this. It's not scary when it's scary. That's my personal quote to live by. Find yours and follow it. Thank you.